Comparing all of the new OP10 leaders, I think Smoker has a high chance of being the strongest one, and here is why. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Mobby here, and today I'm going to be giving you my deck profile for the new red-green Smoker leader from OP10. Make sure to like and subscribe, it really helps out the channel. I upload daily duels and deck profiles for different anime TCGs. Alright guys, so here we go. This is going to be my personal deck list, and if you guys have any additions or removals, just anything you recommend putting in, let me know, and we might make a second version of the deck. Going in here, if you're watching this in a future date, this is for OP10 and below. So anything later, well, we'll probably make another video for that. Alright, so we're going to talk about the leader, every single card, and then let you know why I think the leader is really good. So this is a Punk Hazard / Navy package with 30% just really amazing staple cards that combo really well. Let's begin. So this is the Smoker leader, Punk Hazard Navy, red green, 4 life, 5000 power, and / attribute. The Smoker has two abilities here. The first one is on the opponent's turn, your characters with Navy or Punk Hazard trait gain 1000. This is an extremely powerful card. Not only does it make it so your opponent has to work a little bit harder to KO with power abilities, but they have to, use more resources to attack into your character. So anything that was usually like a basic 5000 power can now be a 6000 on your opponent's turn, making them use a Dawn or something else to remove it. Really good and makes them all super sticky on the board. The second ability here is Amusing Activate Main once per turn. If you have a character with 7000 power or more, you activate 2 Dawn. This can be used offensively and defensively. It's not even hard to get 7000. It doesn't have to be a base character power level. It can be anybody that you've buffed up with an ability or even Dawn. And the versatility of activating it anytime during your turn is really cool. So we'll talk about how it's used offensive and defensively. The first card have here is Because the Side of Justice will be whichever side wins. This is from OP05. This is a 0-cost counter. In this deck, you have around 12 or so 0-cost counter characters. So we're running 2 in here to counteract if you have too many bricks in your hand. But basically 0 trash 1 card, which is one of those dead characters like I said. Then somebody, leader or character gains 3000. The trigger is rest a 4 or lower. Pretty decent. It actually goes good against swarming decks like Don Quixote Dofi 17. Alright, so moving on to our first character card of the deck. This is Virgo from OP10 1-1. On play, look at the top 5, grab a Punk Hazard card that is not Virgo and put it to your hand. In this deck, it's slightly under 50% of the cards in here that are Punk Hazard, but I think that's completely fine because they're only searching for a couple of key pieces. I'll let you know you're searching for the 2-cost Dragon number 13, the 3-cost Sanji, the 4-cost Chopper, and the 5-cost Smoker, and those are the only cards you kind of want to search for, with this card, depending on what you really need. So running 4 of these. Next card, we are running Radical Beam. This is one of the cards that just works really well in red, but specifically, you can get it off a lot more consistently with the Smoker leader. As mentioned here, if you have a 7000 or more, set 2 Dawn is active. So you can play your turn regularly, and if you really can't finish the game, you need to defend, you can set 2 up, and then use 1 for anything you need, or maybe leave 2 for 2 Radical Beams that you have in your hand. Either way, no problem using a Radical Beam late game. You're going to be completely fine. So this is a really good card to put in this deck that lets you have Dawn really frequently. Then on the trigger, you can give somebody 1000 power during the turn. So hey, best case scenario on trigger, you get hit once, it goes up to 6000. Then your opponent's characters have to use a little bit more to attack into it if they're 5000 or less. Now, this is yet another card that can be used defensively with your leader's ability. This is Punk Hazard, so it does become 3000 on the opponent's turn, but it's probably not relevant, the damage here. But basically, it's a 1-hit counter and block. So we're only running 2 of these because your leader ability is you can activate 2. So if you play a 10 cost, for example, then you activate 2, you can have a blocker ready to go, activating those 2. So defensively with your leader ability, you have Radical Beam for counters and Dragon number 13 if you need another body on the board. So those are your defensive options. Also, you have these ones that aren't searchable, but we're still running them in this deck. So dragons are searchable, these ones aren't. So these are Rosinantes from OP05. 2/1/1 has innate blocker. Then on your opponent's turn, if one of your arrested characters would be KO'd, you can trash this character instead. Working with your leader ability, it's just another card to help you live. As long as you got a cool board, you got extra blocker on the field, your opponent really they got to work around it, etc. Next card we have is Usopp from OP01 332. We're running 12 2K counters in this deck. On play, rest up to one of your 4-cost opponent's characters. The very front end of the deck, the low cost stuff is super defensively. As we get past Usopp and go to the 4 and higher, it's all straight damaging. So this one will help you win out the game. If they throw something as small as one of these type of characters, it'll help you just get through it, right? But it's usually just going to be used as a 2K. Unfortunately, it's not searching. And if you do have it on the field, it can't be buffed up with the ability. But overall, it's a really solid green 2K to put generally in a lot of decks. Next off, we have Tashigi from OP10. This is a new 2K counter. It's a SR. So 3/4/2. If one of your green characters other than Tashigi leaves the field due to an opponent's effect, meaning bottom decking, return to hand, etc., you can rest this character instead. It's a really awesome ability because resting the character. And once again, it's an effect. So if they KO it too, that counts as an effect. And the fact that you rest this character instead of trashing it, for example, like the Rosinante does, that makes it so this character stays on the field a little bit longer. If you end up resting it and they want to attack into it on their turn, it's going to be a 5,000 power. So you technically could counter out of it. It's here as a tech play, a really infrequent play, but it's a 2K and it's searchable. So there you go. So it's a really good card. Next off, we have one of your early game rushes. I say rushing, but early game aggression cards. It's a Sanji from OP10. So 3/3/1. Your turn, this character is 3,000 power plus, making it 6,000. So the turn that you play it, 6,000. On your opponent's turn, it goes up to 4,000, but you're usually only using it to attack. This card works really well in the PRB01 Sanji deck, by the way, which is extremely good. Then when this character is KO'd either by battle or an effect, you get to draw one card. So your opponent, it's a pretty high removal target because 3 for 6,000 is amazing. Also, drawing a card. So it's a little weird that way, right? Okay, so really, really good card. You want this to be out as soon as possible. Next off, we're running 2 of these Kobe's from ST10. This is a nice vanilla navy card. It's not searchable in your deck, but because it is a navy, it's going to get the buff, being 7,000 on your opponent's turn for a 4,000. Also, this is running we're running this vanilla card because this is keeping in mind OP10. So you're going to be playing against some Blackbeards. Maybe you don't want to play these Sanjis and you want to instead play a Kobe, so that's why we're running just 2 of these, just to fill out a little bit of the of the curve. Next off, we have these new 2K counters, really strong chopper cards. Tony Chopper 4/4/2 has the innate blocker. Then on your opponent's turn, this character gains 2,000 power. Putting aside the leader's ability, this would be 6,000 power after attacking or blocking. After attacking, you rest it. Blocking it, go to 6,000. Really good. 2K as well. But because your leader has the ability to buff up Punk Hazard, this will be a 7,000 blocker just for a 4 cost. Super good, searchable, amazing card. Like, this is insanely good. Also, it's another great card for the PRB01 Sanji too. You just have to put 1 more Dawn on him to make him 5,000 to attack into most leaders. But then, after that, it'll be 6,000 on the opponent's turn. Such a good card. Now, along the same vein as Kobe, we have a 5 cost here that is from OP10. It's a straight vanilla card. It's a just in case you can't play your on plays for the turn, this will be one of your, we're running 2 of these, and it's really good because once again on your opponent's turn, it's navy. This will be an 8,000 after you attack with it later. 5/7/1. Really cool new card from the new set. Next off, we have some of your key pieces like, okay, so we have Kobe here and we have Sengoku, just in case you're playing with some Blackbeards and you got nothing much to do, but you primarily want to play this Carrot and this Tashigi and this Smoker card later. These are your best cards to play, and these are your aggression cards. So this is Carrot, is a Minx from OP08, non-searchable, and doesn't get buffed by your opponent's ability, but it does enough on its own that I think it's a really good card 561 on play, and then later on when you attack, this activates in different times. Up to one of your opponent's rested characters, 7 or less, will not become active during the refresh phase. Obviously, they can use other cards to stand it, but they're usually not. This is a really, really good card. And there's a way to summon it with the 8 cost Rosinante that we're running here. But because this deck is extremely aggressive, just being able to stop your opponents from attacking for 1 turn and then up to a 7, so maybe the next turn you can stop another card. Really good, especially going against swarming decks like Don Quixote do Flamingo stuff. So running 4 of these because this is a big key piece in controlling the board and just being, you know, even if you're not destroying their board, imagine if you have 2 of these, you know, you can just stop so many in an attack. It's really good. Now we have your big baddie of the board, big baddie. This is Smoker from OP10. 570. It has innate banish, then activate main, set up to one of your Dawn is active, then you can't set Dawn active using other characters' effects during this turn. So if you had 2 smokers on the field, you can only use one and not use the other. Let's say you were running a deck that ran Cavendish. This one can't use it because Cavendish requires a supernova leader, but it's a card that once again requires, it requires a supernova leader, but it makes it so your Dawn becomes active. As long as you play in the correct order, for example, attacking with Cavendish to set 2 Dawn up, then you can use this and it's really good. So imagine using this because you can use it the turn that you grab it. The turn that you set it down, it'll be it's a 7,000 leader, so it works perfectly with your leader's abilities. So you set 1 up here, then you set 2 more up with here. Boom, you have 3 Dawn ready to go, and you can see all the things you can do with 3 Dawn. You got Dragon number 13, Rosinantes. You can throw your Ezos out. A lot of good stuff, right? So we're running 4 of these. Really great card. During resting on your opponent's turn, if they attack into it, it's going to be 8,000 as well. So amazing card for the deck. It's also searchable, and I'm not gonna lie, this is a great card to put in a lot of other decks, especially ones with one cost the events that you're gonna be running. Great card to put in there. Okay, now we have our late game cards. We're running 2 Hody Joneses. These are amazing just for general use in green decks, and the fact that this is a red deck as well makes it all the more wild to be really aggressive. It's all about stalling, banishing, and then having really cheap blockers that you can easily put out thanks to your leader's ability. Also, yeah, if you have Virgos in your hand and it's super late game, you can go ahead and search for something. You might be able to find like a 2K to replace that Virgo or something like that. But yeah, 7-8-0 innate rush on play. You rest up to a total of 2 of your opponent's characters are done. Really amazing. It doesn't have any restrictions on the cost or power level of the characters. You just rest them and you go for game. However, you do have to self-hurt from the top of your life. It is mandatory, but for the most part, you're rushing like crazy. It's a really good card. Unfortunately, not searchable and doesn't affect by your leader's ability, but you can still have a 7,000 plus character to use your leader ability. Just for the extra defense on the opponent's turn, it requires a Punk Hazard or Navy, so good. Now, your other 2 cards. Now, you might as well run 2 Hody Joneses instead, but I decided, hey, it's a red deck, might as well put some of the other amazing good rush cards. So, if your opponent doesn't have anything to block them, you don't want to run this because you're basically without any buffs. It's 8,000. However, this is a 9,000 plus giving 2 rested Dawn to somebody. So it's really good just for 1 more Dawn. 9,000 0 rush on play. Give 2 rested Dawns to your leaders or one of your characters. So good, so good. Imagine if you need to attack with this, right? With 8 Dawn, and then the turn before, or the 2 turns before you have the Smoker on the field, the 5k, right? The 5 costs. So you have Monkey D. Dragon, 2 on him, 1 active thanks to the Smoker, boom. And then 11, and then 2 more with your leader ability, like 13, 14,000 damage. Really good. So those are your 2 late game rush cards to finish it up. Then we are finishing off the deck with these 4 Don Quixote Rosinantes. These are from OP10 880. On the opponent's turn, if this character is rested, your base characters with 5 cannot be KO'd by effects. So that means the Smokers will be safe, the Carrots are safe, and the Sengokus are safe. Then on play, you can rest this character. You play 1 5 or less. I was thinking about running one of the laws, right? The 5-drop law. That's a 5/6 blocker that bounces somebody back to throw out a 3. I thought that would be cool. But in a more aggressive deck, I think we just want to summon something like definitely, like, I think the best one to throw out is Carrot with this, because you're definitely going to be able to just simply stop a character from attacking. And then if they can't remove Carrot because they can't remove this guy, she'll be able to get her effect off even more, and you can simply just ignore the rested and stunned characters and keep attacking and attacking and attacking. So we're running a bunch of these. And that is the Smoker deck that I'm running. As the set goes on and we do some more testing, I might make another iteration and then give you guys another video. But let me know down below, just to help us all out, what would you add in this deck? What would you remove? Hopefully I gave you guys at least a good starting point if you want to make your own decks going into OP10 forward. And if you're watching this at a much later date, because I'm building this for the Japanese OP10 sets, you might be finding this later. If you're watching this and OP10 came out in America in English, then hey, watch out for our other decks, because when OP10 releases in America, OP11 will be out in Japan, and I will be putting another video then, with the differences and if this deck got any better, or etc. So it's a cool deck. I think it's one of the strongest just because you have so much versatility. You have a lot of defense, a lot of damage. It's good, man. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.